I begin with a prayer. Om Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Pada Padme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Murmu. Revered Swami Atmagyananand Ji Maharaj, Revered Swami Bhaswatanand Ji Maharaj, dear devotees. So just to recapitulate, this is the second session of the main theme, which is Upasana for spiritual progress. In the morning we discussed how a progressive reading of spirit into matter can be defined as Upasana, both at the collective level, civilizational level, as well as individual level. And as I had mentioned, that the second theme, that is second subtopic of this theme, is Upasana as worship and meditation. So Upasana means both external meditation, and we saw how Upasana, the word Upasana, was understood in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, where it, and the Brahmanas, where rituals played an important part. And as part of the rituals, now and then in between, there would be what is known as Vidyas or Upasana, which is known as Angavabadha. It's part. Anga, it is a part of the entire Vedic ritual, which was known as Yajna. The Yajna, or the which is now has come down to us as Homa, which is part of our general Puja. Now that Puja has been transformed, this Karma Kanda, the Brahmana portion, the rituals have over a period of time evolved into a very concrete type of worship, especially after the Tantras became popular. And so many new ways of worship has transformed this ritual into what is known as Puja. So, we'll begin with the synthetic puja that is normally practiced in our Ramakrishna order. I'll not go into the other details. I'll just focus on worship as it is practiced in the Ramakrishna order, and then try to connect it with meditation. In fact, we begin with meditation. As Swami Swahananda says, when you sit for puja, before even doing puja, you have to imagine that the Kundalini, which is a unique contribution of Tantras to the entire Vedantic literature. Of course, the seed of this idea, of the idea of Bija and other things, Tantras, are there in the Vedas, but they evolved much more later on, after the Puranic age and the other ages. So, Swami Swahananda writes, again I go back to this definition of worship as described by Swami Swahananda. He says, you have to imagine, you all know that the idea of Kundalini is also found in the Tantras. It was adapted by Swamiji in his Raj Yoga, while discussing Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Though Patanjali's Yoga, Sankhya and Yoga, you don't find this idea of Kundalini. It is a psychic power which is supposed to be at the base of our Sushumna, or the nervous currents, the psychic energy which are responsible, in fact, for all our actions. But they are not manifest so much in our gross actions, our thoughts. the secular thoughts that we think, the material thoughts that we think, the gross thoughts, the gross things that we meditate upon. In that, this Kundalini is not so active. It is only when this Kundalini becomes active, and instead of passing through the two nerves, Ida and Pingala, I think all of you know, Swamiji has elaborately discussed it, adapted it to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And he says, in a normal person, it remains in a potential form, the base of the spine, and only when it passes through the hollow, there is a hollow canal between the Ida, efferent and efferent nerves, which pass through the spinal cord, which is passed through the spinal column, the spinal cord. And Swami Shardanji says there is a hollow, and the yogis or the sadhakas, upasakas, when they make this psychic current, this nervous energy pass through the hollow, they slowly get rid of the idea that they are the body. Because when it passes, Swami Vivekananda mentions, much before wireless was discovered, he anticipated that discovery, and he mentions in his Raj Yoga that our electricity, the subtle electric forces, need a medium to be transmitted. In those days, wire was required. But he says, nature manages to transmit energy even without wires. That was what Swami Vivekananda says, much before wireless was discovered. So it is something like spiritual wireless. You don't need a medium of the two nerves of Ida and Pingala, which we need for our day-to-day activities. Our nervous energy, the Vyana, there is this Prana, Samana, Udana and all the Vayus. So Vyana is connected with our nervous energy. So one of the pranas, the nervous energy, which normally in a normal human being, when he is not spiritually evolved, it passes through the Ida and Pingala. But Swamiji says by some process, through Upāsanā, in the Tantras they say, the yogi tries to force this psychic power through the hollow. So he slowly, progressively tries to see more and more spirit into matter. That is how we get rid of the body idea. And when it reaches the Sahasrara, there are different chakras, which are different centers of consciousness. When this Kundalini rises, according to the Tantras, by meditation, by prayer, mainly by meditation, you will find that the center of consciousness, as Sri Ramakrishna has explained so beautifully in the Gospel. In fact, he drew a diagram, and unfortunately Holy Mother lost it. He drew these chakras on a piece of paper, and Mother says, unfortunately, I lost that paper. So he clearly explained, because he was very good at drawing. So he drew these sketches and explained and you will see many references to the Kundalini, how the power rises, the psychic power known as Kundalini rises in a yogi when he practices Upasana or Dhyana. So, Shardanji says that before even we do some kind of ritualistic worship, it is there. Those who are familiar with the science of puja, they know that you have to imagine, these are Shardananji's words, that the Kundalini rises through the Sushumna up to the spine, the Sahasrara, that is 1,000-petaled lotus, where it unites with the Paramatma. The Jivatma unites with the Paramatma. So if that has been done through imagination, this is done through some kind of preliminary meditation, even before starting the ritualistic worship, puja. Then it is identified with the Paramatma there. The Kundalini rises. But then, strangely, it has to be brought down back, and it's mentally you have to imagine it is separating itself from that Paramatma. It comes down and becomes a Jiva. And that Paramatma, whose location, or maybe who is that the Sahasrara comes down for our sake and becomes our Ishta in the heart. And that Ishta, through a ritual, you install him outside. You have to literally imagine that or project that deity. So that is how the highest ideology or the highest philosophy of Advaita is combined in Tantras. And that is the science or that is the idea behind even the ritualistic worship which is known as Puja. So, Mahanirvana Tantra, which is, there are so many tantras, and Sri Ramakrishna had practiced all the 64 tantras, they say, under the guidance of Bhairavi Brahmani. So one of them is Mahanirvana Tantra, where puja or worship, Upasana, I am taking this meaning now. First we'll discuss how Upasana is puja, then we'll try to see how the main purpose of Upasana is meditation. We'll come to that later. So they call this Brahma Sadbhava Dhyana. When Mahanirvana Tantra says that puja is the oneness of the worshipper and the worshipped. So they give such a, they have such an elevated idea of what ritualistic puja is. With that spirit, one begins puja. This has to be done even before we start doing the ritualistic puja. We project that Paramatma, bring him down and then project him outside and then do puja. And then again there is this bringing back that deity or Ishta who has accepted your worship through the different rituals, through the different upacharas. We'll see that. So then we perform the external puja or ritual. In fact, this idea of puja, external worship, in many books, many of the compositions of even Acharya Shankara, he, in Saudharya Lahiri, he says, in fact, everything that we do is nothing but puja. He tries to give a universal idea of this ritualistic puja. It's not confined to the rituals that we do during formal worship, but he says, all the prattle I do is nothing but recitation of the mantras. The mantras that I recite, in fact, I'm doing it all the time. If that proper spirit is there, that's how Shankaracharya looks upon this external worship. We are doing external worship, a great worship, as Swamiji says, a great worship is going on. It's going on as yagna, as the cosmic, what was done as a yagna, a cosmic offering. We are offering, we are exchanging things with the universe. We take some things, we offer something back. So that cosmic yagna is always, the great worship is going on, according to Swamiji, very poetically describes that. So in Saundarya Lahiri also, Acharya Shankara says, this ritualistic puja, we are anyway doing it regularly. We, whatever prattle, we pray to the Divine Mother that no matter what we talk all sorts of things which are not mantras. But oh Mother, please consider that because I know nothing, I do not know anything better. I am not able to do puja. So whatever I talk in ignorance or anything, that prattle itself, you please consider that as japa or prattle is japa. And the different actions I do using my hands. I don't know how to do mudras. So the devout worshipper is saying, praying to the Divine Mother, I am doing so many things using my hands. The movement of the fingers are there. I may not know the different mudras which are necessary. There are specific mudras you have to do in the puja. So he says, take those things, whatever hand movements and the finger movements I do throughout the day, please consider them as mudras. Then we have all the wanderings. I am supposed to do pradakshina. In puja, you do pradakshina, you circumambulate the Lord, the vigraha of the Lord. So I said, I am forced to move here and there, I am traveling so much. Please consider that to be your circumambulation. And whatever I eat, in fact, we recite this mantra every time before we eat, Brahmarpanam, Brahma Havi. That is in Advaitic sense, but here as an offering to the Divine Mother. It's an offering. So consider whatever I eat to be an offering. And even when I lie down, doing nothing, even that, please consider that to be a humble prostration. I may not be able to do Sashtanga Pranam, which is part of the puja ritual. So even my lying down, everything that I do is nothing but a surrender to this infinite consciousness that resides in the Mother. So this is an unceasing worship. So worship has been taken to such an exalted level in the Indian tradition. It's not just a mere ritual which is to be performed mechanically. Then there is an idea, again, if you read the book, there's a nice book where Revered Swami Prameyananji, who has written a wonderful introduction. The book Worship of Sri Ramakrishna, if you see, there he has written a beautiful introduction where he has given all these references, different references, how worship or puja is done according to the different traditions of India and how they are so beautifully synthesized in our puja, the puja paddhati that we do, worship of Sri Ramakrishna. It's a nice introduction. There it says, the idea that Tantras followed, that you can, or the general principle behind puja is, you do all the different things that we do, self-purificatory rites, purify the body, purify the hands, purify the mantras, everything. The purification itself takes a major portion of our day-to-day or daily puja. So the reason is you can only worship. They say, Devo Bhutva Devam Yajet. You can only worship God if you have purified yourself sufficiently, at least mentally or through these different rituals. So that's just a reminder that you cannot worship or even invoke the presence of God in your heart unless you purify yourself. So beginning with, I'll just briefly list, because we cannot discuss in detail about puja, but there are about 21 basic things that we do. How systematically we purify our physical body, or rather try to read spirit into matter. Puja is one way of trying to progressively read more and more spirit. I think everything is a part of the universal consciousness, which alone is real. All other things are to be sanctified and converted to that highest consciousness. That is the idea behind puja as it is understood in the mixture of Vedanta and Tantra and all the other. It has evolved to this. So first is Achmanam, where we pray to Vishnu, who is the all-pervading reality. So whatever be our nature, we purify our entire body, beginning with the lips, because we are using the lips to utter all the mantras. So obviously they have to be purified. So Vishnu purifies not only the exterior of frame, the body mind that we have, but he also purifies the interior. So both Bhahyabhyantara Shuchihi, the purity, just by reciting the name of Vishnu, who is the all-pervading reality. So the pure consciousness, wherever wherever that spirit comes in contact or is read into matter, that matter gets purified and elevated to the highest level. So that is how you purify. Purity means the more gross a thing, the more impurities. As you go towards more and more subtle levels of your existence, you get purified. So this is the first Achmanam. Then you do Swasti Vachanam. That is, we pray for the welfare of all. It's part of all Upasanas, as we will discuss in the last talk, both today as well as tomorrow. This prayer, in fact, Swamiji mentions this in his complete works, that when you pray for the benefit of all, In reality, you try to recognize the divinity in all of them. And that is a good beginning. Actually, it should be done, it should precede all kinds of worship, ritualistic or otherwise meditation. So we send thoughts, because the more we send out thoughts of prayer, welfare, that is why we have all these Shanti mantras. And we pray for the welfare of all, so that all beings let them be happy. In fact, Swamiji has translated this Sanskrit mantra where you pray for the well-being of all. So, have a good health of all, everybody be happy, let everybody strive to realize the spirit within, and all those things. So that after that prayer, we have to take a sankalpa, a resolution that whatever I undertake, this great puja which is going to purify me, not only purify me, but enable me to touch the spiritual reality within. So after first imagining that this Jivatma has been raised to the level of Paramatma, so though it is a mental imagination in the beginning, but it serves a great purpose. And then you say that you bring him down to the level of your Ishta and you worship him outside of you, so that you can do the puja. Then we have what is known as Ghata Sthapana. That is, Ghata is symbolic of the guha which is there in the heart. If you see, the heart is compared, sometimes it is compared to a lotus or within the heart, but it is a space. It is a space where you meditate on the Atman within. So that is symbolized by the Ghata, the pitcher. It's the cave of the heart where the light shines. There are so many wonderful songs of Ram Prasad and all, where the darkness of the cave of the heart is lit by the glorious light of the Divine Mother, the light of consciousness that shines within. So that is what we do. Then again we do Prana Pratishtha. So the divine within, temporarily, we pray, we in fact beg forgiveness to the Lord within. Said, for the time being, I bring you out, I place you there so that you can accept the divine within is brought outside, so that I can fulfill my desire of worshipping you externally. So then there are so many things. When we sit for meditation or when we sit for puja, there will be so many psychic disturbances, Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, and so many obstacles will come. So we do Dwara Devata Puja. These are all minor things we do. There are many things that one does when we do this worship, and to ward off all the obstacles, physical or mental. They can come from all directions. In fact, there's a beautiful article of Swami Ashokananda. We have published that in Vedanta magazine. It's in 3 parts. We published it serially. It's the effect of vibrations in our life. I have never seen an article which discusses this idea of vibrations, spiritual vibrations, gross vibrations, physical vibrations, energy is discussed almost very comprehensively, that how these vibrations affect us, affect the spiritual life of the sadhana or upasana that we do. So to ward off all these obstacles coming in gross or subtle form, we do symbolically, we do a lot of other rituals like Dwara Devata, so that nobody comes and disturbs us while we are doing this puja. Then there is Pancha Shuddhi, what is known as Pancha Shuddhi. See how scientifically the whole science of worship, it's not just a ritual which we do. It is everything points to the great truth of how to purify this gross so that we can manifest more and more of the spirit within. So we come to the main theme, the progressive reading or progressive manifestation of the spirit in matter. These are material things. When we do puja, everything that we deal with are material things. Apparently they are material things. The flowers and all the ghata and everything that we do, the incense sticks, flowers, everything is material, but how we spiritualize them. So this Pancha Shuddhi, we have to purify all the articles that we use for puja. They are the worshipper first has to purify himself. The worshipper himself has to be purified. That is Devo Bhutva Devo Mejit. We can only worship him with a purified body. Otherwise, we cannot invoke the presence of the Lord within if the body is impure. So first we worship. Then we worship even the place on which we are seated, the asana. In fact, Upāsanā means sitting near. Literally, it can mean puja because you are sitting near God. The best place, the best way to understand Upāsanā is sitting near. You sit near, you sit on an asana and do puja. So that asana has to be pure, not just the body. And then, not only that, the mantras that you use, you may pronounce them wrongly, but they also have to be purified. They are not ordinary words. They are special sounds, especially in Tantra, a lot of importance is given. The very idea of bija, each chakra or each lotus is associated with a particular bija. And they are not just randomly decided. They are just bijas that have been revealed to these great sadhakas or rishis. So the whole bija shastra or the mantra shastra, where the importance of even purifying that mantra, everything has to be purified. So we purify the worshipper, the body of the worshipper, his mind, the place where the asana, the mantra, then the articles of puja. The flowers may have come from any source. So we sprinkle water, there are mantras for that. So everywhere this idea is that everything that is outside or within has to be purified to worship God. That is true worship. In fact, when Sri Ramakrishna used to do, we read in the Great Master, for him all these ideas, for us they are ideas which we try to practice and try to understand try to make some sense out of it when we do puja. But for Sri Ramakrishna, the ritual, he began his life with puja, which was, according to Brahmo Samaj, some kind of superstition. They did not believe in idol worship, but using the same puja, but understanding the true import. When Sri Ramakrishna used to utter the mantra, he used to imagine a wall of fire, literally, preventing any obstacles from coming and disturbing him. He used to feel that all his joints have been locked. If you see the Great Master, unless one reads this wonderful book where the sadhana, as Swami Swahananda says, the sadhana portion of an avatar has rarely been discussed. How Krishna did sadhana, how Jesus Christ did his upasana. We ignore, or maybe not much information is found, or maybe deliberately it has been avoided because an incarnation apparently doesn't need sadhana or upasana like ordinary jivas. But they come with a purpose. That is why Swami Swahananda says it is absolutely essential to study the sadhaka bhava of Sri Ramakrishna. Balya bhava, that is childhood, we discuss, and then Guru bhava is important. Most of the other biographies of great avatars, they focus more on that, the Leela, the Divya Leela. But they don't give so much importance, the human side of the master, which is apparent when he does sadhana for the sake of others, how to do puja. So he used to literally, all the ideas became absolutely real. When he uttered the mantras, he could literally see the fire coming and protecting him, the wall of fire which we do. So then we purify the deed. Then there is Bhutapasarana, where the evil spirits, evil thoughts, evil vibrations and obstacles are removed. Then again asana shuddhi is done. Then you do kara shuddhi. Kara means you purify the hands with which you are worshipping. Then we do what is known as Divya Vigna Nivaranam. So the three types of evils, Tapatraya, they are known as Tapatraya, Adi Bhautika, Adi Adhyatmika, related to the self, and Adidaivata, Adidaivika. So all these three vignas, from whichever side they approach us or disturb us, have to be removed. So there are mantras for that. And as I said, as Sri Ramakrishna used to do this, Vanni Prakara Chinta, that a firewall, imagine a firewall which will not disturb you. These are wonderful psychological, these are rituals, but definitely there is a psychology behind that. That at least while we are doing sadhana or upasana, our meditation, or even puja, ritualistic puja, we should not be disturbed by other thoughts. They may come from in various ways. There may be some physical disturbance, somebody may come and disturb us physically, or some noise, or it can be subtle, some thoughts which will come and disturb our puja. So to protect that, any kind of vigna, that fire has the capacity, because fire has the power to purify everything. Fire burns everything. That's why fire is a great symbol of purity. So this fire will, this Vanni Prakara Chinta which we do, which Sri Ramakrishna himself saw, literally a fire surrounding him, preventing any sorts of disturbance so that he can focus on the puja. Then we do pranayama, of course that is done to study our body and the pranas and thus the mind also. And then we do Bhuta Shuddhi. There are various, let us not go into the details, for obtaining a divine body where we can invoke the presence of the Lord. Then there is something known as Nyasa. Nyasa means it is trying to replace that ego feeling. So wherever the Lord comes and resides, whichever part of the body, whichever part, so you do different types of Nyasa to subjugate your ego and replace the deity. So deity is slowly taking possession of our entire personality, the body of the worshipper. So we do that Bhuta Shuddhi, followed by Nyasa, and then there is another thing known as Matrika Nyasa. That is the power which is there in the mantras. Each mantra, each sound represents a packet of power, you may say, if you can call that. And that power behind the mantra has to be preserved. So there is a Matrika Nyasa. The different parts, the different sound symbols are worshipped, and to preserve the power so that they become effective. The mantra, the puja will become effective, these things are there. So after all that, we contemplate on the Ishta, that is Dhyana. Through Dhyana mantras, different Dhyana mantras are there. The famous one, Swami Abhedananda has composed. Hridaya Kamala Madhya. How the different aspects. The first two verses describe the Sri Ramakrishna. There is no mention of Sri Ramakrishna's personality there. Only in the last verse it is there. What are his guna, the gunas, the qualities of the Ishta. Before that it is all Brahman itself who has come down as Satchidananda himself has come down as the Ishta and has taken a particular form with a particular Swarupa, a particular gunas, the great gunas. So this dhyana includes everything. So you do dhyana, contemplate on the Ishta, and before that, the Tantra, Kularnava Tantra says that this has to be attempted only when you have controlled the agitation of the senses. So all the 16 steps or 16 steps you do before the 17th step, even before attempting to do dhyana, all these different nyasa and all the things, shuddhis are done. So many shuddhis have done because the agitation of the senses, that's the main idea, that the senses are extremely restless. That restless body, we have to control using all this. That is why there is so much of elaborate prior preparation, even before trying to meditate and invoke the Lord within. So then we do upachara, as you all know. The whole nature is worshipped. I mean, earth, there are 5 basic elements. They are worshipped symbolically, of course. Prithvi is through the sandal paste that we use. Flowers, Akasha is symbolic, the flowers are symbolic of Akasha, the Akasha Tattva. So Prithvi, Akasha, Vayu, fire, Agni. Agni is the light that the incense is symbolic of, it symbolizes air or Vayu. And then Naivedya represents water. Then, of course, again we do Arati, which is at the end of Puja, we do the Arati, which is a shortened version of the Homa that we do. So the 5 elements are worshipped there also, using different Dhuipa, Dhupa and all those things. And then a ritual which is a sort of, many Westerners find it very strange, those who belong to different cultures. All this elaborate Durga Puja and the Ganesh Puja we do, and then do Visarjana. And in fact, Mathur Babu was, one day, he did Durga Puja and he fell in love with that image, beautiful image, which was worshipped for so many days. He said, I have so lovingly worshipped her. I don't want to part with her. I don't want to do Visarjana. How can I do Visarjana or immersion? That is a ritual. But that has a significance. Then Sri Ramakrishna tries to convince him. He says, under no circumstances I will allow the Visarjana. He was adamant. And Mathur Babu said, I'll do daily puja if necessary, but she'll not leave and I'll not allow my mother to be immersed. So the idea of Visarjana is that divine Ishtadevata whom you worshipped outside. In the first place, he was inside. And you, with his permission or with the Ishta's permission, you worshipped him to your heart's content outside. And Visarjana signifies or symbolizes return of the divine spirit back to the place where he or she belonged. The Ishtadevata goes back. So what was objectified outside goes back, has to be brought back. So that is the idea behind Visarjana. And then finally, as we do in our Upasana, whether we do this formal worship physically or mentally as part of your the procedure of initiation or spiritual initiation, practically it is a shortened version of this. But if not the external puja, we are asked to do mental puja. So anyway, after everything, whatever you have done as part of this worship, you have to offer that. So, japa samarpanam, japa or the puja, whatever ritual you have done, you have to offer. That is a very important part, even of our sadhana. When we do our upasana, if you see the upasana paddhati, one should not ignore that. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna did that. At the end of Shodashi Puja, he offered everything that the fruits of, we cannot keep that. We have to offer that. Because it is with the grace of our Ishta that we have done, we have been able to do this external puja. So at the end, like any other work which we offer to the Lord, is Karma Yoga, this is also part, this can be treated like Karma Yoga, and we offer it back. The fruits of the puja, we offer to the Lord and pray to Him and tell Him that we should never forget Him. Never forget His divine presence within. So that's the idea. So now we come to the second part, which is, it's almost time. Yeah, I'll just take 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then I'll quickly come to meditation, which we have done as part of the dhyana mantra that we recited. Actually, the dhyana mantra, each deity has a particular dhyana mantra, which has to be repeated when we meditate. Because there are 3 types of, as I said in the morning, I said Upāsanā. I will not go to the Vidyas and other things, but basically, there is a Pratik Upāsanā or Pratima. So, either way, it is a form. Whichever form we believe in. If we believe in Pratima or Vigraha, as we do here, we have an image of Sri Ramakrishna which represents a particular avatara or a deity whatever it may be, it has a form and it has a name. So that is where the science of tantras, or the combination of Vedanta and Tantra, where this name and form, obviously it has importance in all the upasanas, but here in particular, the yantras like shalagramas, even the lotus can be a yantra, or the pratika, and then the Shivalinga, then some people can even use a flame as a symbol. So they are all symbols, no doubt. But there are pratimas also. As puja evolved, or as the techniques of meditation evolved, these deities, they are not just created by human beings. They are deities who are the very idea of devas. Deva means the shining ones. So these are revelations to the rishis, the purified mind of the rishis. These deities were revealed, and their particular names, the particular bijas associated. Bija is another new idea which tantras emphasize a lot. Every deity is represented by a particular sound. It's a very powerful way of trying to know the swarupa of that deity, that particular deity. So each deity has a form and it has a name. So we will find that Namopasana, which is very popular, especially in the bhakti tradition, there is mantra which we do japa, with or without bija. There are so many different mantras which represent the God whom we worship, the Ishta, the name of the Ishta, with or without bija. Then we have multiple, like Sahasranama. For example, the Ishta is one, but we have Vishnu Sahasranama. There are 1,000 names. So there are different ways, multiple names. So Namopasana can assume different forms. Stotras, Dhyana mantras, where words are used as symbols. This is very important. So this is sometimes combined with the pratika or pratima. Say we have a form of the Lord. So everybody doesn't have the capacity. When we come to meditation, we begin with either the name or form, or both name and form. Ideally, it should be name and form should come in our, we should meditate on the name and form together. But many people, most of us find it very difficult when we are doing Nama Japa, repeating the name of the Lord. And that in that repetition is very important for concentration. It's a kind of dharana using name. You hold on to reality, which has a form, but obviously it has a name also. Nam and Nami Abhed. In Kathamrit, so many times he says, it doesn't matter if you remember the form or visualize the form. The name and the form, either of them or a combination of both, or one after another. So this is how our Upasana progresses. In meditation, you will find when we prepare for meditation, so Nam Upasana also passes through different stages. In the beginning, it is some sort of mechanical repetition. We have to put in a lot of effort when we do Namopasana, which precedes meditation, or the form Upasana on the form, Rupa Dhyana. Before that, we do Namopasana, we repeat the mantra. Sometimes we do it mechanically, sometimes the mantra after constant repetition, as Holy Mother has said, Japat Siddhi. In fact, Nam and Nami Abhed has been taken to extreme levels. There are many Marathi songs, abhangas, where the aspirant is unable to see the form. He is desperate to see the form of the Lord. He is not able to visualize, he is not able to see the real form. So he, out of anger, in fact, in many abhangas, you will find some of the abhangas of Tukaram and all the saints of Maharashtra, they said, I don't care for your form because Nam and Nami are Abhed. I have your name and that is enough. So sometimes people meditate on the name because that is not anything less than the form. But the ideal state would be to combine the name and form. That is how meditation, which precedes meditation. So normally when we think of Namopasana, it can be, stotras can help us, the Sahasranama, the different stotras, even devotional songs, bhajans, the Brahma Rupa Madhi Madhya Shesha, such a beautiful description Virajananji has given. The the whole lila or all the gunas, wonderful qualities, they have been set to tune. So this is also Namopasana, using many words, many gunas. So that is, we can do guna dhyana. If we cannot do rupa dhyana, so when we worship a vigraha or our Ishta Devata, the form of the Ishta Devata, we can do rupa dhyana, we can do guna dhyana, which is meditation on the qualities, provided we know. That's why it is very imperative to read the biography in great detail. You just can't take a mantra and meditate on the form. You should know the real Swarupa. Before knowing the real Swarupa, which is revealed only through meditation, deep meditation, the real Swarupa may not be what we imagine him or her to be. The deity that often reveals itself, the deity reveals itself as a result of long upasana, may be something different. So the Swarupa has to be understood, or Swarupa can be realized only after long sadhana and through the grace of the Lord. So before that, all we can do is do alternately or together Namopasana or the Rupa Dhyana. We do Rupa Dhyana, we try to visualize normally it is in the heart, and maybe we take some other aids. There are symbolic. We just can't arbitrarily say we can meditate on any chakra or any, whatever the Guru has instructed. There is normally they use lotuses as a symbol, as a seat of the Ishta, or a flame, or there are many different techniques. But in either case, in any case, it is the form, the Rupa Dhyana, which is followed by Guna Dhyana, which ultimately leads to Swarupa Dhyana, the real nature of the deity. And in Tantras, they believe that the process can be quickened if, as part of the mantra, there is this bija. The bija has a unique quality, unique vibrational quality, which helps you tune your consciousness to tune with the divine consciousness. So that is why we have this idea as Shiva consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Ramakrishna consciousness. So they are different. You have to tune to the deity, and that is facilitated by the Bija mantra. That is an important part of Tantra sadhana. So in Tantras, they give a lot of importance. Each Bija is uniquely connected to the deity that it represents and has the capacity, if you repeat it continuously. That is why Holy Mother said, Japat Siddhi. She in fact, she knew that most of us cannot visualize the image in a proper way. It is very difficult to meditate. So she would say, Japa leads to realization. Siddhi, the highest realization can be had by Japa. This is a new, it's a type of meditation which is very typical of our Ramakrishna tradition. So then there are so many other, just a few minutes on what the mantra actually means. The mantra is a sound, actually sound shastra. The shastra of mantra is a big subject in itself. How to use sound symbols to realize the divinity within. So, normally when we repeat the mantra loudly, it is known as Vaikhari. There are different stages. If you see the Shabda Shastra or the Nayayikas, they believed in this. There is this Shabda Shastra where the sound has a capacity. So even in the Bible, when Swami Vivekananda delivered the inspired talks, he came and he said, the Gospel according to Luke, I think, he said, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You see, the whole idea of this Tantras is hidden in this sentence which is taken from the Bible. In the beginning was the Word. Sound is so important, and the Word was with God. They were separate. We try to combine them. The name, the form, and the name, when as a result of constant upasana they are combined, then the Word becomes God, because the Word is nothing but God. Beginning was the Word was with God to begin with. But as a result of our meditation of Namopasana and Pratima Upasana or Pratikopasana, we will find both combining together. Nama and Rupa cannot be separated. Nam and Nami cannot be separated. So they were one at the first place, but somehow they got separated, and our effort should be to unite them. So the word itself reveals the God which it represents. So that is the main purpose of having this bija. The bijas quicken the impulse. The name itself is important, and then there is Om in the Indian tradition, which is the universal bija. It is known as universal. It is Brahman, Shabda Brahman itself. So in the beginning of all mantras you have this Om, but when it is combined with the bija, it quickens the process, and Namopasana bears its effect more quickly. That is what the Tantras discovered. And they are not arbitrary sounds, mind you. They are sounds which were revealed to the sadhakas who did sadhana for a long time. So we will conclude and we will discuss this thing in more detail in our class tomorrow. So I'll break up for tea. I'm sorry I took a few minutes more. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
So we'll have a slight adjustment that now we will have a tea, coffee break, and it'll go from, it was supposed to be 2:45 to 3:15, it'll go to 3:30. But don't take advantage of that and come late. Huh? And then the next session, Swamiji will speak, it'll be 3:30 to 4:15. So you won't lose any time. And then we'll have the panel discussion after that, because we have plenty of time between the end of the panel discussion and the evening arati. So that was brilliant, Maharaj. It was really, I think, because people, they watch Puja all the time here, even for us, how much do we think about it and know about it? Yeah. So I'm sure everyone really appreciated it very much. I appreciated it much. It was very nice. So tea and coffee in the basement. Oh,